We don't need therapy, we need the truth. The truth is, the majority of us have daddy issues. The price of therapy nowadays is through the roof. Not to mention, there is a waiting list. I have concluded that, like most hospitals and big pharma, they are not trying to cure us. It's big business. I have also concluded that social media therapists are closer to the cure than clinical therapists and psychologists. I want to applaud a few of the social media therapists I follow. They give me hope for the future generations. I call these kids the truth fighters. The Fresh and Fit podcast, featuring Myron, states that he doesn't date many black women, not because of the way they look. It is the behavior championed in that community. The culture teaches them to be strong and independent and not respect a male's authority. They grow up without a general respect for men because they don't have a father figure. The late Kevin Samuels states that women lose their marketplace value the older they get when it comes to finding a high-value man for marriage, while men's marketplace value increases with age. A woman's marketplace value is in her appearance, while a man's is in his accomplishments. Tonight's Conversation podcast states that today's women want to be impressed by the gesture and not the man. Single mothers date their sons, doing everything for them short of intercourse. They become so emotionally dependent upon their children, convincing themselves they don't need a man. Single women's homes are FCK boy factories. Sadie Khan at Sadie Psychology states that when children have an absent father, they remove the pain of it by destroying his reputation. How they defend themselves is by saying that they don't need their dad and they don't care about him. The lack of one parent is traumatic. The trauma appears mostly when they try to get into a relationship. While the mother feels they are doing their best, there is a level of fear or abandonment that cannot be soothed. It may cause them to be overly anxious or independent. Yaki Rafa Aloham, a renowned certified master herbalist, certified biochemist, certified Reiki healer, certified detoxification specialist, metaphysician, spiritual holistic teacher, and more, aka Yaki Awakened, teaches that every illness is curable with the proper herbs and diet. A student of Dr. Sevi, RIP. Malevi Big 4, 19 Keys, High-Level Conversations. This young man states that there is no plan B. Nobody is coming to save us. When we believe we have a savior, we think we have grace, and we have more time to mess up. We don't. It's now or never. If this generation fails, it is on us because there is too much evidence on why we don't need anyone to come. We ignored all the people who came before us who tried, and now we are waiting on another. Perla Just Perlithing states that when women win the lottery or get promoted at work, they are more likely to divorce their husbands. Whenever a man accomplishes something, they attribute it to their woman. But whenever a woman accomplishes something, they never attribute it to the man she is with. We are the same when it comes to most issues. What makes us different are our experiences. I am here to add my 2 cents. The truth will set you free. The first question I would ask my clients would be, what is the relationship like between you and your biological father? How do you think it has impacted your life? This, in my opinion, is where the core of our issues reside. We must know where we come from to know where we are going. The questions I would ask the therapist are, do you take into consideration that slavery may have played a part in today's relationships not working? The effects of slavery have its challenges on everyone who is born under colorism. Do you take into consideration that I don't know my history, and my last name is that of a slave master? Do you take into consideration that we were all lied to, starting with Christopher Columbus? Do you take into consideration that we have a racial issue in this country? Do you take into consideration that we have a drug issue in this country? What about gun violence and mass shootings? If it is the truth that will set us free, can we start with it? I understand that we cannot change the past, but we can acknowledge it. Relationships between men and women have never been more challenging, and the children are suffering. The only answer that can turn this country around for the better, ending evil, is awarding fathers custody of the children. The reason that will never happen requires another article. What I see as a result is an influx of single women who do not understand what it takes to have or maintain a family. They are choosing the bag. They celebrate their independence as a badge of honor. That is until they get to a point where they realize they need a man but can't find one that wants them. What I see is an influx of emotional boys who don't know how to be men, dying in the streets or ending up in prison. I'm also seeing an influx of good, responsible men getting their passports and exercising their options with traditional women from other countries, women who were raised to be wives. I got my passport. 70% to 80% of us were raised in single mother homes. However, it is the father who teaches a boy how to be a responsible man and how to lead a family. It is also the father who teaches his daughter what to expect from a man, leading by example. Mothers are not at their best if not given provision and protection from a man. Being raised by only the influence of our mothers makes us fearful and makes us more emotional when it comes to making life decisions. It also teaches us not to be held accountable for bad choices. It is not a coincidence that mothers are awarded the children in 90% of court cases, stripping the father of almost half his resources. It is not a coincidence that 70% to 80% of inmates come from single mother homes. Prison is big business. It is not a coincidence that the children who come from single mother homes are the children who terrorize our neighborhoods, robbing, stealing, and killing. These same women are the ones complaining that there are no good men. But they are producing the type of men that they complain about. Disclaimer: this is my opinion only.